What it do, everybody? This is Junior Zamarone coming at you from Ukiah, California for a special edition of Baseball, Bobbleheads, and Brews. On today's show, opening day is right around the corner, so we're going to get into the 2021 MLB preview. We're also going to be talking about a couple baseball-inspired brews from a brewery out in San Jose, California. So like the group Alabama, we like our view from the cheap seats. I want to welcome to the show, once again, my brother-in-law, who is now becoming the unofficial co-host of the show. But we also got Chief and Farmer back from our Oktoberfest edition. Welcome to the bar, gentlemen. It is time to play ball and get into the MLB season. And we have a brewery from San Jose, California that's called Strike Brewing Co. And they basically fall right in line with what we're doing here. Baseball, bobbleheads, and brews. Unfortunately, 2020 didn't have any stadium giveaway bobbleheads, so today we're just going to have to focus on 2 out of the 3 Bs. So for Strike Brewing Company, San Jose, California, they're literally right down the street from San Jose Municipal Stadium, which is the home of the low-level A San Jose Giants.
Yep.
So next time we go down there, you can check out the park, because I don't think you've been there.
I have not.
So with Strike, they were founded in 2011, but the dream began in 2009 over home brews and, of course, San Francisco Giants baseball.
Absolutely.
So they have won multiple awards from the U.S. Beer Open, and they won that for their Imperial Stout. And they focus on fresh, crisp craft beers for the public. So I'm looking forward to this. So let's not waste any time. Chief, looks like you and me fall in line rocking Oakland A's.
Yep.
I also have my 21 Roberto Clemente Tribute Cardinals jersey because they're my second favorite team. Brent, we know that you're a Giants fan.
Always.
And Farmer,
Hater.
what about you?
I'm a Red Sox guy.
Get out.
So, here we go.
He has Big Poppy,
All right.
David Ortiz on there. Can't hate him for that. The second best designated hitter in Major League Baseball history, maybe?
We can definitely hate him for that.
Yeah. Yes, we can. So, let's not waste any time, and let's get into some of these beers and play some ball. The first beer up is in honor of spring training, because, you know, we're still doing that down in Arizona and in Florida, Grapefruit Cactus League, and it is the Training Hazy IPA. And for us, it features a brand new hop that I had no idea was even out there. It comes from South Africa, and it's called the African Queen hop. They also mix it in with Mosaic hop, and it comes in at 7% alcohol by volume. You're going to get subtle notes of mango and blueberry, so it gives you sort of a tropical feel to it. Let's get in on this right here. Chief, what's your thoughts on a tropical beer?
They're all right. Not really on the top of my list, but they're pretty good.
And what do you think, Farmer?
I don't know.
Tropical?
As long as it's not too salty, I'm okay
Yeah.
with a tropical beer.
Salty balls.
Yes, sir.
And I hear that's a big thing down in Texas.
Yeah, we had some tropical sours down there, and it was like they used the ocean water to make them. They were very salty, and it was not my favorite. And I like sour beers.
I'm not a big fan of sours, so this is definitely going to be in a ballpark where I'm going to be all right with it. So the pour on it, it does have a hazy effect,
Yeah.
but not like a lot of the ones that we've been seeing recently.
Kind of a light, airy head to it too. It's not.
Yeah, it's not
Not thick.
dense. It's not lacing on the glass. I do instantly pick up the mango, like right on the
right
smell. I'm
Even on
hoping
the taste.
that the blueberry is a little bit subtle because I'm not a big blueberry fan.
I don't
I
really
didn't
get
taste
them.
much of
I don't get it at
I
all.
don't taste much
Blueberry.
blueberry. You definitely get the mango in it, but not too strong, not overpowering.
The hop is really mild, and that's surprising. You know, you'd think a African Queen would be something that's bold and out there, and the Mosaic must have brought it back a little bit. And
Yeah.
I believe that Strike has a lot of their beers featuring some hoppy notes to it, but mainly it's malts and the barley, some wheat in there, which I'm assuming that the pastime lager is going to be a lot of wheat forward.
Yeah, the tropical stuff's kind of seems to be kind of in right now, right? Because we just had another baseball tropical hazy.
From
Sure.
Iron Ox, the Mason
Mason
Saunders, in honor of Madison Bumgarner, right there with the Giants. Now with the Arizona Diamondbacks, it looks like he's going to have a bounce back season because statistically, last year's shortened season was his worst
Killed
on
him.
record.
Killed him.
So it is a little bit bitter on the back end, but it's not one of those things that's going to blow you out. It does have a lot of flavor.
Yeah, you get
It's light.
It is. It's very light and crisp. So it's one of those ones I feel like you could actually, drink it. All the time.
I kind of like
Right.
it because if you want a beer, you can go back for another. It's not overwhelming,
Right.
and you can just go for it, and you're all right.
The mouthfeel is not as heavy as most of the hazies that are out there.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if there's no oats in this one, but I'd like to see a little bit more coating of the mouth. That way it can like perfume up into your nose. Have you guys been out to spring training before?
No, not yet.
No, we're gonna make a trip. Some other friends of mine, and it all fell through. I think we were gonna go two years ago. We were gonna spend a week out there, and it all went downhill. Didn't happen.
I highly recommend it. The atmosphere at the ballpark is very close. It sort of reminds you of a AAA stadium.
That's what I was hoping for.
Getting
Yep.
back to real baseball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's going to be one of the good things. Certain stadiums are going to have higher capacity of fans. Here in the Bay Area, we're looking at anywhere from 20 to 25%. So baseball is right there to be viewed again, and hopefully we can get in and catch a game really soon. And right off the bat with the spring training haze, it's a good start, and I look forward to the next beer that's up on tap. So the 2021 season is going to be basically a normal season, 162 games. Thank God none of this short season stuff, because you really don't get a fair shake of who's going to be in contention to make it to the playoffs. So this year, we're going to see some of those teams that made the playoffs last year, they might not even get in this year. And that brings us to our 2021 win total projections. So the Dodgers are supposed to win 102 games and the National League West title. I'm pretty sure we agree that there's nobody that's going to basically take it from them.
I hope that Kershaw chokes though, just like he normally does. Because last year he got to do really good in the postseason, and everybody's like, "Oh, look, he's out, finally got his groove back." But they only played like 60 games, so he was in middle of the season. In most seasons, he's doing pretty good. So he got the mid-season form in playoffs last year. So he's still,
Right at
I'm
the
pretty
right
sure he's still
time.
going to choke.
Yeah,
So
that's actually comparable to what's going on, because you can get hot at the right moment, and sometimes you get hot early in the season and then you putter out towards the end of the
Yeah.
season. So Kershaw might not be like that, but in
fingers crossed.
their bullpen and their starting staff, it's stacked from top to bottom. Trevor Bauer came over, the reigning Cy Young Award winner, but you also have the young cat Walker Buehler, who I really like, and I've liked him since he came in. So that could be something that counteracts Kershaw's inequities, maybe, or
Yeah,
inabilities.
no, if you go by their team, and they are stacked, so it's going to be real hard to beat them.
Yep.
Well,
So
I look at it, it's going to have to be one player is going to have to pick up for another, because there's no way in 162 games everybody's going to be healthy.
Yeah.
162 games.
we're looking at you, Max Muncy.
So you're going to have everybody's going to have to join. It's not going to be one guy, one pitcher. It's going to have
Yeah.
to be a whole unit.
And you got to hope that they can work together, because you got all those superstars on there and potential superstars. You never know. It might end up being button heads and stuff, so it might not actually have that season.
It reminds me of the softball team that was put together for The Simpsons. You know, they had Wade Boggs and Daryl Strawberry, Jose Canseco,
Yes, sir.
and the hero of everything was Homer Simpson. So sometimes, you know, the average guy is going to be able to do it,
Yep.
and maybe the Dodgers will have somebody that steps up, and all of a sudden they're the shining knight that actually gets them another World Series. The last time there was back-to-back World Series champions, I believe it was 95 and 96, or 96, 97 with the Yankees. So maybe the Dodgers can do it. I doubt it.
Yeah,
But
I hope not.
it comes down to they're supposed to win the most games in MLB, and unfortunately, there's always going to be the team that's destined to be the cellar dwellers. And according to the graphs that are out there, it's supposed to be the Pittsburgh Pirates only winning 58 games.
Ooh.
Now, I'd give that to the Giants,
That's
or maybe
tough.
even the Red Sox.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, Red
Well-
Sox, no way. I mean, we gave our season away when we got rid of everybody. So
Started
and
with
we're-
Mookie Betts going to LA.
and we're going to continue to get rid of everybody until we clean house and start over.
Start over.
And-
5 year process.
And give us a 2 or 3 years to rebuild and reestablish. We'll be all right.
We blame Alex Cora. It's all his cheating way that he brought over from the Trash Stros.
Yes, sir.
So
Yes,
they're
sir.
getting punished because of him. So we also have to throw shade to Carlos Beltran. He
Yep.
was a part of it
Yeah,
as
part of
well.
it too.
So, you
Yep.
know, I personally don't like AJ Hinch. He has a connection back to the Oakland A's. But as a coach, he knew exactly what was going on,
Oh.
and he tried to pass the buck off to the players that they were ruling the clubhouse, and he had nothing to do with it. And unfortunately, he has now a job with the Detroit Tigers, while Alex Cora and Carlos Beltran are still out of baseball. So are we actually leveling the playing field, or did a lot of this fall on the Latinos guys, you know? So that's one thing that you're going to see out there. For the Giants, they say that you guys are going to win 75 games.
I'd be happy with 75.
Go for it.
Okay.
I'm not gonna lie. I would.
Fourth
I would.
place.
It comes down to, you know, we haven't had good luck with pitching in the last 4 years. So
Your last great
I mean-
pitcher was the Freak,
yeah,
Lincecum.
I mean, Mad Bum does great. He has a great postseason stuff, but we haven't really even been in postseason, which is why he left. So it's
Don't you
I
guys
mean,
like leave
Last year was really bad because the Giants controlled their own narrative. I personally thought last year, and I put it on one of our earlier videos determining who was going to get into the playoffs, they came down to the final pitch,
Yeah.
which was a ball, and it was called strike 3, and it slammed the door shut on their playoff hopes on the
Yeah,
last
the last
day of the season. That was tough. That's a tough way to go out.
That was tough. Honestly, I don't think we would have done a whole lot in postseason anyway. Like, I just didn't have the faith in them last year. I'm still a huge fan, still support them, but I just didn't see it going anywhere.
It's going to be tough. And then the Red Sox, even after the huge fire sale, they're saying the Red Sox are going to win 80 games.
I hope so. That'd be nice. 80 plus might get you in the wild card, but I don't see it happening. They don't have any pitching. They don't have any defense. They have a couple batters. You know, you have JD Martinez and you have Devers. That's all you have. You don't have anything else to help you out.
I don't even know
Everybody
any
else,
other pitchers.
everybody else is new.
Other than that, you're hurting. So
Yep.
You don't know anybody else.
yeah, they're all newbies.
Yeah.
So
The crazy thing for me is that in 2018 and 2019, the Oakland A's won 97 games back-to-back. They ran away from start to finish with the division last year during the shortened season, and they're only being said that they're going to win freaking 80 games again. 80 games,
We'll
and
meet you guys in the playoffs. Wild card.
possibly tying with
Something.
the Trash Stros. I mean, come on. This is a team that's young, energetic. They have stop gaps that will actually keep us competitive for a long time. But the fact that the Astros lost pitching, they lost hitting, and we basically lost our all-star closer, one of the best closers in the game, to the White Sox. But we still have Matt Chapman, Matt Olson. We have these guys that are young and hungry and looking to take the next step out there. So it's going to be interesting to see. So really, what are we thinking? Who's going to win the American League West?
American League West.
I still have it as the Trastros. I do.
Yeah.
They're if anything.
You think the Trastros too?
If anything, they really know how to cheat, right?
Right.
So I mean, worst case scenario, if it doesn't look like they're gonna win, they're gonna figure out a way.
Yep. During the playoffs, I
So-
mean, they were on fire and they took out the A's and they got really good all of a sudden. So I personally still think that they were cheating.
I mean,
But this is a team that the A's won the division, so they should get the respect and have the opportunity to say, this is your division to lose. And I personally see them coming in and winning the division next year.
What do you think about the Angels, though?
The Angels are my dark horse pick. I think the Astros fall off and actually go into third place, maybe even fourth place, because the Mariners have a young core as well, but I'm not sure if they're gelling together like they should be. But with the Angels, you have Ohtani coming back. He's hitting the ball like crazy in the spring, plus he's pitching again. Then, for me, Mike Trout is going to have a definitive year that says, I am the face of MLB. He's a 3-time MVP award winner. He hasn't really been in the playoffs yet, but I think this is the year that everything comes together. Pujols is going to have a good year. You have Trout doing what he has to do, and I honestly think Rendon, not the best third baseman out there, but he could actually have a rebound year and put up the same similar numbers that he had with the Nationals when they won the World Series.
Ohtani just needs to make sure he doesn't get hurt.
Yeah.
Because if he gets hurt, he can't pitch and he can't get at bats.
And it's game
And
over
and
for
he
them.
needs both. In order for him to get a high batting average, he needs at bats.
Yeah.
In order for him to be a good pitcher, he has to have a good elbow,
Yep.
good shoulder, good form, not get hurt, and get some innings behind him. If he doesn't, it's going to be like the last couple seasons. Everything's going to hurt him. He's not going to be there, and they're just paying to have him there, basically.
Right. Bring in the international market. So basically it comes down to Chief and Brent, they say the Trastros. I say the A's. Farmer, your definitive locked-in answer.
Angels.
Angels,
Angels.
the dark horse pick
It's
to
out
make
of
it.
Seattle. I don't see Seattle.
Yeah, that's
So-
Seattle.
All right, locked in.
Angels. The Angels. Gonna be my way to go.
All right. Now let's get into our second brew. Brent, what do we have coming at us?
All right, so we got Fear the Beer, right? And it's based off of the beard of the great Brian Wilson, who killed it.
I wouldn't call him the great.
He was in 2010, right?
Just one year.
The 2010 we won the World Series. He was a big part of it. He was our closer. He killed it, and he had that big, beautiful, jet black beard. So that's where they
Died.
came this. Yeah, it's died. It's 100% died. But you know, this one's gonna be a roasty malt flavor. You know, a little bit of like chocolate characteristics, but it's supposed to be thin, bubbly, and just a drinkable beer. So
No carbonation.
I'm thinking it's something like you know, Death and Taxes from like Moonlight Brewing out of Santa Rosa. You know, they have a really dark beer, but it's real light when you taste it. So I mean,
Now the color is like fantastic. I believe it looks like one of those dark lagers, or you might call it a porter or a stout, but something tells me with the beard or briar, I believe that's what it's called.
It's a Schwarzbier.
Schwarzbier. Okay.
So style at least.
Ooh. I'm getting blown away by the coffee notes right out the
There's
gate.
Coffee. But I like coffee. I like it.
It's smooth, and that's actually good.
It's got a good smell.
Would that one be a better beer if it was warm when you drink it, or would it be better cold?
I don't know. So with the IBUs are only 25, so it's not super bitter. So I'm not sure if letting them warm up is gonna like enhanced flavors like you would with a triple IPA or something like that.
Yeah, I think I would rather drink this one cold for sure. You know, it's very mellow and smooth. It coats your mouth. You do get the coffee right off the bat, but that's
Right
it.
off the
You
bat.
know,
Right.
you don't really pick up the hops, but I get a lot of toasted malt, a little bit of wheat in there, and I'm wondering maybe even some sort of barley and or like flaked maize. Because I've seen the flaked maize in there, and it gives it a little touch of sweetness, and it sort of does play off the coffee and a little tiny bit of the cream. At least that's what I'm picking up on.
Yeah. So this is if I'm not mistaken, a beer that I don't think. I mean, I guess they had their stout won them an award. Is that what you said?
Yeah, the Imperial
sure.
Stout called
So-
Big Wall won them a gold medal.
Yeah. They actually brewed this in collaboration with another brewery. It's a Rock Bottom Brewing. So this is actually a collaboration beer, which we love because you get different stuff from everybody.
Different styles in there to come up with one really good
Yeah.
beer. And obviously that coffee didn't deter me because, I'm getting down on this. This is actually pretty good. It's a pleasant surprise.
It reminds me a lot of I'm just going to name drop a bunch of breweries in this episode.
Yep.
There's a brewery over in Davis, over by Sacramento. It's called Roostaller, and they have a beer. It's called the Kenyan, and it's brewed with Kenyan coffee beans, and it is delicious. It's like drinking an iced coffee, and this reminds me a lot of that because
beer
it has
for
a lot of.
breakfast?
Yeah, I mean this would be a beer you could have with breakfast. It has so much
Beer
coffee
with
notes to it with a little bit of that dark chocolate. So I mean,
There's no bitterness to it.
it'd be like drinking a little cup of espresso.
Steak and eggs and a beer.
Yeah. I'd get down on that for
Yeah.
sure.
This would be a great morning beer.
There you go.
I don't want to hog it all.
Hopefully
Chief.
not on a work day.
Hit this again. No,
Definitely not.
on a work day, you can
Definitely.
still have one beer without getting yourself in trouble. At least that's
Well, if
some,
we work
some
where you work.
companies.
Yeah,
some
you were.
companies,
Not me.
I'm all right. I'm staying out of that one.
So when it comes down to the Fear the Beard, he did have a good, important part to those championship years for the Giants, but he faded off into obscurity. He
Yeah.
sort of reminds me of Bill Spaceman Lee, which was a comical player back in the, I want to say, late 70s, early 80s. It was more persona than talent.
Yeah.
But good tributes like this, or the Mason Sonder Tropical IPA, or even Urban Chestnut Brewing Company out of St. Louis, they did the number 6 Classic American Lager honoring Stan the Man Usual for his 100th birthday. I love seeing beers coming in and merging with baseball. So this is a great beer, especially for our format. And now our format today is talking about, of course, picking teams for the 2021 season. So now we put in our selections for the American League West. Now we're going to go to the American League Central. And I believe right before we started shooting, it's pretty much given that the Central is going to go to the Chicago White Sox.
Yep.
For sure.
Hands down,
Hands down.
stacked. We're talking about the reigning MVP in Jose Abreu. There's Tim Anderson that has one of the greatest bat flips in history because they turned it into a bobblehead.
Yeah.
I was so disappointed that bobblehead wasn't given out last year. They are going to give it out this year, so I'm going to be trying to find people in Chicago to help me get that bobblehead. But the fact that it has him throwing the bat away, and there's a little metal bar that holds the bat up, so it's like floating in air as he's thrown
Should
away.
have made the bat bobble too.
Yeah, yes.
That'd be
See,
Missed opportunity.
missed opportunity. It's not too
Second
late to
edition.
add it.
Right, second edition.
Then you have the all-star closer coming from the Oakland A's, now with the White Sox, Liam Hendricks. So they amped up, and it seems like it's win now because their window could possibly close.
Seems like they made a lot of good choices as opposed to just getting rid of everybody.
They have the no-hitting Lucas Giolito coming back to anchor their rotation. They have talent from top to bottom. You have Eloy Jimenez. You have Luis Roberts.
And a strong farm.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, there's
A lot of them are in-house talents.
if they have an issue, they're going to bring it up through the house, and they're gonna make it happen. And everybody knows the same program. Everybody's on the same page,
Yep.
which in the long term will benefit them when it gets to the later part of the season.
Yep. And that's one of the things, especially in a 162 game season, somebody's destined to get hurt. You have to have the next man up that's going to stop that bleeding and then still produce. I mean, one of the things that I hate most in the metrics of baseball is the freaking wins above replacement. But sometimes if you have another person behind you that's going to plug in those wins when you're in that lineup, it's going to just make everything less stressful for the other talent.
Yeah.
You don't want them to put that weight on their shoulders, and then that leads to their injury. You want to be able to say, okay, next man up, who's going to be the one that produces? And it's tough to not say that the White Sox are going to produce from top to bottom, but you also have the Bomba squad from Minnesota. I mean, you got Josh Donaldson, Nelson Cruz. You got some big, heavy hitters there. The only thing that they're sort of missing is pitching, but they could make a push and make it interesting at least.
Their outfield's strong, which for them, with having the longevity of having people younger, it'll help them, like just with any other team, get along through the season as long as they're healthy. So if they can keep an outfield and get at bats, that's what those young guys really need.
They have one of my
That'd be good
favorite
for 'em.
players right now. His nickname is El Tortuga. And that's because he's a big dude like myself, but he has some wheels on him. So maybe the Tortuga can do some good stuff over there and help get them over the hump, because they haven't been in a World Series since 1991 when they beat the Atlanta Braves. So it might be time for them. I know the A's knocked them out of the playoffs a while back with Torrey Hunter diving for a ball, which led to Mark Kotze's inside the park home run back in 2006. But they're on the doorstep, and they could possibly do something special.
It's just be hard to beat the White Sox.
It's going to be really hard. I mean, the Indians took a couple steps back because they let go of Shane Bieber to the Padres. Lindor left to the Mets. So what they had put together, it's going to be tough for them to stick around. And I don't think there's anybody else in the American League Central that's going to make a big push. The Tigers are going to be trash. And it's going to be basically a one.
Blowing out.
Hey, it is. It's going to be like that.
Detroit, see ya.
Yep. So it's going to be a one-horse race, and I think across the board, Chief.
I'm going to say that one-horse race is going to fall down right at the end and break its leg, and the Twins are going to slide through.
Oh, okay.
All right, go with Minnesota.
And
I'm
I'm
going with
going Minnesota there, White Sox here,
White Sox.
and Farmer, what about you? Lock it in.
Sox with KC right behind them.
Oh, I forgot about the Royals.
That's-
Sox with KC
That's,
right
those are my
behind them.
picks. That's
It's
my
whoever's
wild card.
healthy. Whoever's
Okay.
healthy.
KC's my wild card.
If they pull it off, Kansas City could just bypass them just by
They
who's
could.
healthy and who's the pitching staff, and more at bats. More at bats. Your batting average might suffer, but it's the hand-eye. It's watching everything happen every day, not being taken out and worrying about who's going to take your
Absolutely.
spot the next day.
Yep.
So more consistency is going to go to that team. So.
All right. Well, let's see what's up with the next beer and our next picks. To the AL East, and for me, this is going to be probably one of the toughest divisions to pick. A lot of the teams restacked up to make sure that their run this year is going to be pretty solid, except for the Red Sox.
Except for the Red Sox. They just got rid of everybody.
Yeah.
Fire sale. I thought that was something that the A's only did. You know, we're the minor league feeder system
We
for
have
all
the
of
same
MLB.
payroll you do right now. So I'm sure we're equal.
Okay, hey, that's tough to do because even though we have a rich owner, that motherfucker's cheap.
Yeah, we're cutting all money off right now. We're just making up. Oof.
So for
We're
me,
gonna buy
it comes
everybody in 2
down
years.
to the young core that is in Toronto. So my pick is the Blue Jays because you have Biggio, Bichette, and Vladdy Jr. And no, we're not talking about the Biggio of old, the Bichette of old. These are young and hungry kids that have played together, all three of them, through the whole farm system up into Major League Baseball. So they know exactly what they can rely on with their teammates. And you have the addition of the cheating son of a bitch, George Springer from the Trastros. So that's a pretty big
That's a big
addition.
Bet. That's a big bet.
You know, I can't deny that he has talent, but sometimes he needs to hit that trash can to know what's coming. But up there, up north, there's a lot of talent, and their pitching is going to get even better. You know,
And looking at Vlad now, man, he's lost weight.
Yep.
He's turned up. He's getting faster, even more powerful. So
But is that going to hurt him?
maybe.
Could that be his first year back of being in really good shape and thinking he can push it and hurting himself?
I don't know if he'll hurt himself,
Or do you think
but
can
he might not know
play a
what.
whole season?
But I mean, at the same time,
he's built like an ox.
Right.
Yeah.
So I
It's-
think he can withstand what's going on. Plus, you're playing first base. It's not super strenuous on the
Right,
body.
right.
So I think he's going to be well enough to be putting together. I'd even think he'd probably smash about 30, 35 home runs.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about.
Stays
39.
healthy, yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
And he has the pop that his dad has. He might not have the plate discipline that Vladdy Sr. had.
Yeah.
You know, Vladdy,
Right.
he was really good. He could draw walks.
Yeah. He's
Hell,
like Euclid. He could draw walks. Bring it.
Vladdy Sr. could hit a ball that bounced off the ground
Yes, sir.
and get on base.
Yes, sir.
So if they can do that, I think they're going to be in a really good position to take the East away from the juggernaut Yankees.
Yep, that's my pick. Yankees, man.
I agree with you. I hate to say it.
Does-
Being a
choking
Red Sox
on those
fan,
words, huh?
Being a Red Sox fan, I hate to say it, but the Yankees are in that area. They are if as long as they can win 92, 93 games.
I don't think they will.
That's what it's going to take.
The
In that-
pitching is not what it
that-
used to be.
for that area in those teams, you're going to have those kind of wins. You're going to have to beat your guys that are less than 500. You're going to have to take advantage of those wins, or you're not going to get anywhere.
Yeah.
So as long as they can do that, they'll be all right.
Like I said, I think the Yankees will be there. I think it's hard to beat them.
What do you think, Chief?
I'm going to go with the underdog again, the Blue Jays.
This guy over here.
I mean,
Split on this one.
another uneducated guess. I didn't do my homework like the rest of these guys.
I didn't do
but,
it either.
But I just think the Blue Jays will pull it out.
Yeah.
They're
more of a
hungry.
More of a gut feeling
Yeah.
for you.
Right.
Yeah.
I know that the Rays are the defending American League champions, and I think that was just a shot in the dark. So I don't think they're going to reproduce their success. And if their manager Kevin Cash does anything stupid like he did last year with taking Snell out of the game,
sir.
Oh,
he's
yeah.
basically
And-
shooting
and
themselves in the feet.
He's where now?
You lost it.
Yeah, so
He's a Padre now.
He's a
right?
Padre, so that's one of a big
That's what you
subtraction
Good
from
Lord.
that team.
And look at the talent that the Padres have now.
Yeah.
If they can all stay healthy,
Yep.
that team could win 110, 120 games. It's possible. It is possible.
I don't know.
That's
That
tough.
team.
That's bold.
That team is very capable.
I
of
don't know what
doing
the
those
National
kind of
League
numbers.
record is for wins in the season, but to do 116 like the 2001 Mariners,
They're-
that's going to be really tough.
they're
Especially
very
look,
strong.
102 for the Dodgers, and the Dodgers are stacked from
Supposed to be the
Right.
top.
you know. That's tough. You
But-
can't really
It would be
say
impressive and be fun to watch. Is what it would be.
Yes, sir.
because the more wins that are out there and the more competitive games, it's going to make it really fun to watch baseball this year. I mean,
Yeah.
coming from the pandemic side, it's going to be fun no matter what because we can attend some games. Hopefully, if
Yeah.
the prices aren't like crazy expensive,
Okay.
it's going to be one of those
I'll
things
do
that
a
we're going to be
barbecue
there.
in the parking lot.
Absolutely.
They said that you can't do
Ooh, no tailgate.
tailgating.
Ooh.
So in order
I
to
can't
get
even
some,
pay for parking and then go.
Oh,
to
you'll pay
wa-
for
listen to a
parking.
baseball
You'll pay
game?
for parking.
no. You can only get in if you have tickets to that game.
Okay.
So we'll do
Wow.
barbecues here. We'll drink our beers here, whether it's from Strike or for anybody else. Our next brew up is the famous Pine Tar Incident. Now, this beer is a West Coast IPA, and it is named after one of the craziest incidents in baseball history. It is involving George Brett, who hit a game-winning home run against the Yankees. I think it's July 24th. Yep, July 24th, 1983, winning the game for the Royals. But the architect of Billy Ball, Billy Martin, actually protested and had the umpire look at the bat because he felt that something was wrong with it, and they measured the bat on the width of home plate, and the pine tar exceeded where it was supposed to, so the umpire called him out, and that made him go nuts. He came barreling out of the dugout, and they actually turned that into a bobblehead in 2019 during their 50th anniversary season. So
That's good.
they got screwed for sure, but in an uncanny change of events, the Royals actually protested the decision, and 25 days later, they were able to restart the game, and the Royals won by the score of 5-4.
Wow.
So initially, it was
Right.
all taken away from them, and then the president of the league at the time actually said, nope, there was nothing wrong with the bat. The bat is in the Hall of Fame. The incident is etched in everybody's mind, and now it's being honored in this beer. So the beer itself features Simcoe and Cascade hops. You're going to get a deep maltness to it, and it's going to have a touch of citrus, but some heavy pine notes.
Yep.
It comes in at 7% alcohol by volume.
Taste the pine. The piney in it.
Little citrus, you get a little bit, but the pine.
It has the slow release carbonation, which actually none of these have had. They haven't had that carbonation factor to it.
Tastes pretty good, but like color to color, the first one, the haze one, was
Yeah. So there's the difference, right? You look at this one, you got a nice clear line of sight.
Uh-huh.
Put your hand on the other side. There's a difference between a hazy, right? So hazy's unfiltered. So you get all that stuff still in there. That's what makes it hazy.
nice.
That's why you don't see through it as well.
Tasty.
This is great. It is. Yeah, you get the pine in it. You get a little bit of the citrus. I'm not getting a lot of the malt.
No,
I don't taste a lot of the malt in it. But it's delicious.
The aroma gives me a touch of floral in there, but it also gives me that bread-like consistency, like the
Yeah.
flour that's cooked on top of sourdough bread and stuff. So it's been toasted that way, so it opens up in the nose.
I don't
But-
get the mouthiness of it either, like that coating. Like even with this as being the IPA, there's not a lot of that coating on there.
This one reminds me more of a lager than anything, to be
Yeah.
honest.
It'd be like a hoppy lager, almost. Like it's just that real crisp, real light. Get a little bit of that hop on the end.
And that's one thing that I appreciate. I don't really like the hop forward in it. I'm getting used to it. But for the characteristic of pine in there, you get a subtle bitterness, but it perfumes the mouth and fades. So it's not hanging around where you get that bitter beer face. So it's actually one of the West Coast style IPAs. It sort of reminds me of Pliny.
Oh yeah, a little
Yeah,
bit.
a little bit.
Yeah. No, I got you because it's got that hoppiness there, at the end, but not overwhelming by any
Yeah.
means.
About the same color. Shoddy
Yeah.
was raving about the color on Pliny, and this one does have a little bit of robustness. I'm starting to feel it in my chest
Yeah.
the more that I drink about
Yeah.
it, but it's not overpowering, and that's one of the things that you're going to see here. From the hazy to the dark lager to this one right here, it's an elevation of their flavor. A lot of the stuff in the description says that there's maltness to it, but the way that they're balancing it with the hops is fantastic. I really do appreciate the 3 beers so far. Now, here's the question. Which beer so far is the winner?
Ooh, I like number 1. The very first one I had.
That hazy was real good. So, but then just the drinkability of the dark one, of the dark lager, right? That coffee flavor, you can just drink it all the time.
You drink it for breakfast.
Right. I mean, it's a beer you can have any time of the day. So I mean, not that these aren't, but you'd expect these ones to be ones that you could drink all day. And that one was kind of surprising. Now, that one's gonna have to be my favorite.
And this tall boy can, this might be one of the 2 beers that I'd average drink at a game. You know, it has a little bit of a punch. Yeah. It's not going to blow you away. It's smooth. But right now, for me, the dark lager is actually the one that I enjoyed the most. And I don't like coffee, but it was just so smooth. It sort of reminded me of the cream ale without the maltiness.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, with our beers, let's get back into picking who the American League wild card teams are going to be. Now, we stated pretty much White Sox, Astros, Yankees. That's your pretty much top of the line. So the playoff format has not been finalized. So we're going off our best guess, which could be 3 wild card teams, 6 from each league. And for me, I have to say that it's going to be, now I got to go back in my notes, the Twins are going to make a run and make this interesting. The Bomba squad. I love the bringer of the rain, Josh Donaldson, ex-Oakland A's, became really, really good with the Toronto Blue Jays. So I think he's coming off of an injury, and his season's going to be stellar. Then you have the Yankees. As much as I hate to say it, they're still going to be in the hunt for October baseball.
Yep.
And my sleeper pick is definitely the Angels. I think the Angels can leapfrog the Astros and finally sneak into the playoffs for Mike Trout.
Yeah, I don't know.
So what do you think, Chief?
I think the A's, they're always a wild card team. A lot of times they don't have enough to win the division, but they're always in the wild card race.
They get there. I mean, that's true, especially the 97 win seasons. I mean,
yeah,
right.
I mean, they're always right there.
Yeah, but a couple of those seasons, the Astros cheated. So the games that we lost against them, we could have had those victories, and it could have gave us the division. But okay, so
them, the Yankees, because I believe I picked Toronto over them.
Right. But the only thing that the Yankees fixed this season was the gap in Aaron Judge's teeth. That's it. They haven't added much to the team.
I know, but they're
gets paid
a pretty
for that
good
gap.
team. So I don't know. It's hard to count them out.
You take their 2 big sluggers. They really haven't done much the last 2 years.
Which means they're due for a breakout year.
Maybe.
Right?
They get hurt again.
Judge and Giancarlo.
Yeah.
Your final selection?
Final selection. I'm going to say the White Sox. Even though I said they weren't going to make it through the division, they'll have enough to run off of, get a wild card.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's see it.
And Brent, what do you think?
So I got the Red Sox, and I know they've gotten rid of everybody, but I honestly think that maybe they know something about the group that they do have that we don't, and get rid of every big name that you think of, and then come back with these people that nobody knows. There's no tape on them. There's no, nobody's gonna know how their pitchers are pitching. Can you name a pitcher? I mean, for the Red Sox,
They
right
lost
now?
Price. They
So-
lost Clay Buckholz.
So it's
I
like
can't-
if you can't, nobody knows who they are. So they're gonna come out. I mean, so then people might figure it out throughout the season or something. But hopefully by that time they're in true form. We're working together for a long time. I just feel like they're a good sleeper pick for the wild card. I got the Royals because I mean they're good too, and then I gotta give love to the A's for the wild card because they consistently get to that point every year.
Well, at least you gave us a shot.
Yeah.
And that's all I'm hoping for. You know, I really, really want to be able to celebrate a World Series championship, especially with my kids. When they were born, they've experienced 3 championships for the Golden State Warriors. I'd love for them to experience their championship for the A's, and I'd like to get another one that I can experience when I'm not like 90 years old, almost possibly like on my deathbed. Give it to me while I can still enjoy it. Crack the champagne, because normally we spray apple cider because, you know, I don't want to spray champagne on my kids. But when they do win the World Series, champagne's going everywhere.
The plastic, the whole house.
Yeah, I'm going to have to do
Goggles
that for sure.
on.
Goggles, the
Goggles,
whole 9
everything.
yard. It's going to be a
There you go.
huge, huge party. Farmer, what do you think?
I'm looking and I'm like, it's Cleveland.
The Indians.
Watch Cleveland.
Watch Cleveland. Even after letting go Mr. Smiles, Lindor, the face of the franchise.
Right, but he's a youngster. Everybody's getting rid of their youngsters. They're all
Yep.
going to different teams. Everybody's trying to find their fit. So the Indians, like with not last season, but if you can play enough players long enough, they have a strong enough team. Plus their coach was the old Red Sox coach. So I'll back
Tito.
him. So I'll back him. So he always puts together a good team
Okay.
and no battle.
Yeah,
So Cleveland never gives up.
that's true.
And according to Drew Carey, Cleveland rocks.
Rock.
And that's another team that, you know, they're looking for their new identity, and Cleveland Rocks could be one of those. You know, they have
That
the
would be
Guardians floating around. They have the Cleveland Rockers because of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And there's the Cleveland Spiders, which was originally the first team that Cleveland had. So there's some history with that name,
Oh, that's
but it's going
pretty
to
cool.
be interesting to see which avenue they go. Do they
Right.
honor the past, or do they create a whole new legacy to move past the controversial Indians name?
Right.
Yeah.
So who else do you have? You have the Indians. What else do we have for the wild card teams in the American League?
You go to Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay,
Bay.
the defending American League
Why
champions.
not? They got rid of a lot of people, but they're not weak by
It
any
might be
means.
the same thing,
But
though.
they might be a team that's right behind everybody else all season long. And they're right there, and they're right there, and they're right there. And at the end of the season, they make that last run and come out of nowhere. And all
Sneak
of a
in there.
sudden, hey, we're here and we're going to play.
I believe they won a play-in game a couple years ago with the home run from Evan Longoria, who now plays with the Giants. So it's feasible. They still have bats, but they need a little bit more pitching depth. True. Now, to round out your group, Indians, Rays, and who's the last person that gets in?
I don't know.
A's, Red Sox.
I think he wants to say the
I
Red
want to
Sox.
say
I
Red
want to
Sox.
say Red Sox. No matter what, I was Red Sox everything. Red Sox wild
There
card,
you go.
Red Sox
Do
World
it.
Series, Red Sox everything. But realistically, they might make a wild card.
Like I said, there's a chance.
Okay.
Nobody knows them.
That's my whole point.
So,
that's why
I
they're
mean-
in there for me.
You have two players, JD Martinez, and you have your third baseman, which is Devers, and that's all you have.
Benintendi went to the Royals, so that could be one of the reasons
Right.
why the Royals sneak in as a wild card team.
Bradley Jr.'s gone. He's at the
Yep.
Brewers. So they got rid of everybody. So it's they don't have enough through the farm, and I'm sure single A and through everything else to be able to do all the homework. Once all these guys get to this MLB portion, it could just be, hey, go ahead and throw to them. We don't know,
Yeah, it's the sneaker team.
and they could just come out of nowhere.
So now that we have all our selections to who we think are going to be in the playoff format, here's the capper. Who's going to be the American League champions going to the World Series? Chief, who do you think is going to go all the way to the World Series?
Based off my gut, not stats, the Twins.
The Twins, the Twinkies, the first time in since I believe it's 1991. Kirby Puckett was back then.
Yeah.
Jack Morris. For me, it's tough to bet against the Chicago White Sox. Although my gut also tells me go with the Blue Jays, the White Sox are just too hungry right now. They want to make that splash. They want to make the young core happy. That way they can possibly lock them down
Keep them in there.
and build a dynasty of their own. The last time that the White Sox won the World Series was back in 2005 when Jermaine Dye was there, Mark Burley, AJ Przinsky. So I think they finally get to the World Series and have an opportunity to win another one. Brent, what about you?
Well, I mean, I know I had the Trastros winning their division, but let's just say they're definitely not going.
They're trash.
I think they're trash, right? So they're really just not going to get there.
Okay.
They're playoff bound.
My other two were Yankees.
Damn you, Jose Altuve.
The other ones were Yankees and White Sox, and honestly, I just hate the Yankees, so I'm definitely going White Sox.
All right. White Sox
So-
it is, 2-1 so far. Farmer, who's punching their tickets to the Fall Classic?
Padres or the Dodgers?
We're talking
Well,
about
that's
the
the
American
I don't
League.
care. That's who's gonna win everything. Right there.
He's like, if it
I
doesn't
don't
involve
care.
the Red Sox, it
I don't
doesn't
care.
matter.
I don't care. The Angels, which is what I went with earlier.
Wow. That's a big time, bold prediction. So if the Angels make the playoffs, you heard it here, or if they make the World Series, you heard it here first from Farmer. Mike Trout,
Bold.
can
Hey,
he do it?
dude, he deserves
Rendon,
it. He
Trout.
he needs it.
Otani,
Pujols needs
Ohtani.
another one before he gives his season away and goes back to St. Louis.
and
So
see,
we need to figure something out quickly
I had a
on
little
the Angels portion of that to get
inkling.
that going. So
Now, can Pujols, I think he's like 36 home runs away from 700. So is he going to play enough to get him to a point where he can play another season to try to get to 700? But Dexter Fowler came over from the Cardinals for a player to be named later. Can that person be Pujols?
Going
And
back.
is he going back to St. Louis? And is he wrapping
tired.
up his career with the bow in the place that made him famous?
Be
So
a smart move.
we'll see what happens there. And you have our picks for the American League. So next up, National League Baseball. Now we're going to jump into the National League, and we're going to start off with the stacked NL West. And by stack, I mean two-team race.
Yeah.
We know
Yeah.
that the Rockies aren't going to do anything because just like the Red Sox have shipped away the majority of their people,
Yep.
the only person left in Colorado is Charlie Blackmon. You know, Chuck Nasty.
story is not bad.
He kills it.
Story's okay. I think
good
he's a
shortstop.
little
Good defense.
overrated.
Good
He's a good shortstop though.
They
And
got
then-
rid of Larry Walker.
He's in the Hall of Fame now.
Oh,
Yeah, they got rid of him a while ago.
all right.
You know the Giants are going to be sort of near the cellar,
The
maybe.
best team in the league.
So it's the
What?
Padres or the Giants?
Yeah,
Did you just call the Giants as a front runner?
that's the.
You can't think
No.
about the Diamondbacks. They're probably
I'm
middle
thinking
of the
Padres,
road.
Dodgers, but the Giants were because they're in here. So
They're in
They,
here.
they are
but,
in there. They're in the
Are-
league. Yeah.
But
Well,
but they're not
yes.
they're not going to do anything special. I mean, you have pretty much
Okay.
this is going to be the definitive changing of the guard
okay,
season.
So we're going Padres because we're gonna get rid of the Dodgers.
You don't think that the Dodgers can possibly
No.
remain? I think they've won 10
between-
consecutive
Between the Dodgers,
division titles.
the Dodgers and Padres, one of those two teams are gonna be in the World Series.
Dodgers.
So between and it all depends on who's going to be the most healthy and who's going to have the better pitching staff and who's healthier every
I think
way
the
around.
Padres would have
So-
the better probability of making the World Series.
So I'm thinking Padres would be the way to go.
So that's your pick locked in.
Padres done.
Okay.
Done.
Chief, what about you? Are you that like blatant? It's ready to go.
It's up in the air between the Padres and the Dodgers. Both are going to make in the playoffs. If one doesn't win the division, they're going to win the wild card, and vice versa.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um,
See it.
I don't know. Maybe lean towards the Padres. I don't know. I got a soft spot. That was the first ball game I went to. I think 1998
Wow,
against the
98
Marlins.
was a good year. I remember
Marlins.
98.
I think the Marlins were an expansion team.
They've
Trevor
been
Hoffman
in a
closed.
couple years.
Yeah, Trevor Hoffman closed.
One of the greatest closers of all
Yeah.
time, up there with Mariano and Dennis Eckersley.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, so Padres 2-0 right now. For me, I can't not say the Dodgers. They're just too stacked.
Yeah.
Trevor Bauer is going to make a lot of people's lives hell. His stuff is nasty. His attitude is even worse. I mean,
He's rad,
if-
dude. I love his attitude.
His attitude is great.
what baseball needs.
But
baseball
that's
needs
the thing.
that attitude.
He
though.
has that bulldog mentality, and
Yeah.
he'll get in your head mentally. So he'll throw you off your game in the biggest way possible. So I think that's one of the things that's going to give them the edge. They have the bats, Mookie Betts there.
Man.
We have Bellinger still there.
But
They
I
did
heard
lose.
his swing change.
Well,
There's something going on. I looked. I didn't see a big change.
I believe
But
it's his shoulder
you look
issue.
at it,
You
yeah,
know, when you
yeah.
bash too hard with your elbow, he popped it out of socket and sort of messed it up. But it's tough not to say that they're going to have the bats, the pitching, and their only hiccup could be Kenley Jansen in the bullpen. But Blake Trinan could be there to be that
Yeah.
stopgap and possibly recapture his great closer season that he had with the Oakland A's. I mean, that year he should have won the Cy Young Award. He had a .049 ERA, plus he had like 12 wins on top of it. I believe it was like, I want to say 32 saves. That in itself is a fantastic, one of the best
Yeah.
reliever seasons on record, and you don't win the Cy Young. So I have to say the Dodgers win the NL West. Brent, I know it's going to hurt you to say it,
No,
but
I'm right there with you, man. Listen. I'm duck the Fodgers all day long, but they're
You said
great.
duck the
They're
Fodgers?
duck the Fodgers. That's what you can say. It's family friendly.
yep, you got to be.
It's. I mean, they're so strong, offense, defense. I mean, what are you gonna do? I mean, you can't. It's hard. It's gonna be really hard to beat them.
Right.
So I mean, we play them a lot. So
I believe anywhere from 19 to 21 games
Yeah.
a season, depending.
exactly. So it's one of those things. We are either gonna have a lot of losses or a lot of losses. against them.
You can even split the season series, maybe.
Yeah,
The
maybe
Giants-
the season we might win a couple of the series, but
The Giants will lead the league in extra innings.
oh yeah, I can see it.
They do that like every year, the last 2 years. I think they've actually led the league in games that go into extra innings.
But how many wins have they had in that same
I
time?
don't know.
Not a lot.
I don't know, but the number is staggering when you look at like extra inning games
Yeah.
for the season in the last 2 years. It seems like every time you watch a Giants game on TV, it's the ninth
14,
inning,
18,
and it's
22
tied,
innings.
and that game goes to extra.
Okay.
It's crazy.
So now let's start filling up our glass. What's the next beer on tap for us, Brent?
It is it's called Pastime, right? And it's the American lager. So they went with it. They're like, obviously, if you're just gonna do an American beer, nice, light, crisp, just drink it all day type beer, you gotta call it Pastime because it's America's pastime, right?
Exactly.
I'm waiting
So-
for them to make a beer called the Field of Dreams.
So this
It's
thing,
probably out there
it's-
somewhere.
It's got to be out there.
That
right?
would be
Right?
pretty cool.
It's got to be out there.
That would be way cool.
So it's got 4.5% ABV, right? It's so again, it's one of those things. It's gonna be super clear, super light. It's actually made with Pilsner malt, even though it's a lager. It's made with rice and corn, so it's one of those things that it's gonna be really good.
Okay. I like the fact that there's Pilsner malt in there, so it hopefully to me will bring a Pilsner quality because that's my wheelhouse right now. The head is really frothy. It's sweet. It's very, very sweet.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not a bad thing. I know you said that there was corn and
rice.
so I believe that there has to be some flaked maize in here.
Yeah.
You know, so that's where a lot of the sweetness comes from, because you know corn has that high sweetness characteristic, and
Yeah. So it ferments dry. You know, so that's what, you know, it takes the some of the carbs away, shit like that. And it's one of those things it's gonna, yeah, it gives you this kind of a nice head on it. Just it should be a little bready, you know, because of the
Yeah.
rice and stuff.
You
I do
definitely
pick
get
up
a
a-
bready
yeah.
kind of. Yeah.
there's no bitterness to it.
Yeah. So there was no information on the IBUs, but it just, I mean, take a drink of it. I mean, there's no IBUs. I mean, I
So,
can't imagine it.
Chief, with you, this sort of seems like the beer of choice for you.
Historically, yes, but today's, for some reason, the hazy is my choice. But historically, yeah, I'm a light beer, pilsners, lagers, light. It's good, but
I really
maybe
like
not my
it.
favorite. today.
Really,
Yeah.
I'm blown away.
This
Right,
was a
because
dead on, like,
I know
on the
Brett-
head would have said this would have been your
Right,
beer.
and I don't know what that. And I'm usually
It
not
has
a,
to be the African queen. You wanted to be a queen for a day.
something like, because I'm not usually an IPA guy, and I'm usually light beers, but
Now, with that being said, though,
I
this,
like the first one better than this one.
legitimately though, this
So.
is a beer you could pick up a 24 pack of these at 4.5%.
it
This
is a
beer
drink
you
all,
can drink
all
this
day
all
beer.
day. Like this is
Yes.
a very refreshing, crisp beer. So it's like, you know, it's obviously sunny out today. It's not super warm, but
Yes, it's
middle of summer, this is something you pick this up out
it's
of the
a
ice
drink
chest, you
it
crack
all
it, and
day
go.
beer, but the hazy seem more of a sit down and enjoy it at the end of the day kind of beer. Have a
Yeah.
couple of them.
Well,
But if I was going to drink something all day, I would definitely choose
the great
this.
thing about the hazies, right? So you're looking at around 7. You're looking at 7%. And most hazies are even around 7. You know, anywhere
Mm-hmm.
from 6 to 7.5 on a regular hazy. And the thing is, they get better as they get a little warmer,
Mhm.
right? This is one of those beers. I'm willing to bet you wouldn't want to drink it warm
No,
at all. You don't want
no.
this. You want this ice cold right out of the ice chest and drink it, right?
Right.
The hazies, you let those go up, you know, 10
Temperature
10
don't
degrees, right?
Almost.
And you get
Flavors start popping
the
off.
flavors
and-
start popping.
Yep.
So
I actually really like this one. I'm going to go out on a limb and say this is my new favorite. The black lager was really good, but this just has the crisp profile that's not going to blow you out. So for me,
Right.
anything Pilsner is
yeah,
going to be
I
golden.
was gonna say you actually taste a lot of the Pilsner maltiness.
Yes.
Right?
Mhm.
You do. So it's great that they made it a lager and used the Pilsner malt because you get a lot of that real clean crispness.
Yep.
And then the just the flavor of that Pilsner malt is great.
And right now they currently have a Pilsner on tap called Social Bubbles. And I would put this up with that one. I mean, it was really good when I went and picked up all these beers down in San Jose. I, of course, had to enjoy a pint there in the moment. And this one reminds me of the Pilsner. And it's just so refreshing that sometimes you don't want to go the hazy route. You don't want to go the dark, heavy stouts. And this is one of those things that if I'm watching baseball, especially out in the middle of the sun,
Oh, yeah.
I want some refrain, and this
Right.
is what it's bringing.
Yeah.
So for right now, I'm definitely going to get down on the pastime. And then, come on, baseball, no matter what people say out there, a lot of people are saying that football is the
taking
new
over.
pastime. Baseball will forever be ingrained with America and apple pie and the 4th of July.
Yes, sir.
And this right here is a very drinkable beer, and I'm pleasantly surprised. What I'm not surprised about is the muddleness that is the NL Central. So for years on end, you have somewhat of a 3-team race. You had the Brewers, you had the Cardinals, you had the Cubs, and then sometimes even sneaking in were the Reds. I mean, Joey Votto, the
years.
Canadian
Yeah,
export,
it's been years.
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
he made some strong pushes. So right now, what do we think for the National League Central? I will start off, and my heart says St. Louis. Yadier Molina's back. Adam Wainwright's back. They have some really good, talented rookies. Harrison Bader, their backup catcher is really good and pretty much the new face of the franchise once Yadi decides to hang it up. But they lack a lot of pitching depth. Yes, they did get Nolan Arenado away from the Rockies,
Yeah.
Dude,
but
that's a big
really,
bat.
it's a
Big
big bat. But
It's
can
not
you
Colorado either.
can you not give up
Elevation.
enough runs? Can you
Elevation.
score more than you actually give up?
Elevation does a number.
Yeah.
You're in Colorado. You're a mile high.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So the ball's gonna fly, and that's your home field advantage.
Yep.
Right.
You're going back to sea level.
Mm-hmm.
That ball's gonna fly different. You're not
Yeah.
gonna have the same pop like you did.
Right.
So it might take him a season or two. He can hit the long ball. He's shown that. I mean, anybody that
Yeah,
hits
he's got
420,
some-
440,
He's got the power.
Change it
It's
up
gonna
and
happen.
figure out how to hit it
but
that far there.
it's going to be that,
Yeah.
380-foot range, pulling it on a corner,
Let's hope.
trying
Right.
to see if we can make that happen.
So I'm going to shock people out there. And I'm not going to go for the Cardinals. I love them. They're my second favorite team of all time. But I got to put in my sleeper pick. And I actually have to say the Milwaukee Brewers are going to walk away with the Central title. I mean, this might be the first outfield in MLB history that is well represented by Gold Glovers. And if you have really good defense behind you, it's going to be tough for other
Your
teams to
offense
score.
is muff, but
Good.
your
Yelich.
deep, your
Jackie
outfield
Bradley
is
Jr.?
amazing.
Yep.
So
You have 2 Gold Glovers back out there.
So
They're-
that's my pick right there. What about you, Chief? Who's going to take the Central Division?
I'm gonna have to go with the Cardinals. I did not do much research, but I'm gonna go off of history, and Cardinals seem to dominate that division.
Okay.
fair enough.
And Brent, what do you think?
So I'm actually going with the Cardinals too.
You would.
Well, my thing is that you got guys like Yachty, who
Don't steal one.
when they have been in the league for so long, they know every detail of everything. And that guy, even with they have their pitching staff's not deep,
Right.
But you got Yachty at the plate,
Yep.
calling those pitches. And if there's one person that you can trust to call a good game, call a good pitch, that's going to be Yachty. It's going to be him. He's going to be there coaching these guys, helping these guys, all the young pitchers, even just being a presence in the locker room. You know, just in the clubhouse in general that's a huge advantage.
And Yachty has a big chip on his shoulder right now because there's a lot of people out there that don't think that Yachty's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer, that he's not even in the same category of Johnny Bench, Mike Piazza, and even Pudge Rodriguez.
No,
But
he's there.
y'all better put some respect on Yachty because he is one of the greatest catchers in our eras, and I believe one of the top 2 all time.
Well, how many catchers can be in the league though?
Right?
Catching.
Yeah.
Right.
Even Buster
Consistency.
Posey
Yeah, he-
spends a lot of time
At first
at
base.
first base.
Right.
Bob Boone and Lance Parrish.
Yeah, I mean, there's
Those are some guys that played for some years.
it's just to have the longevity in that position, like
It's
And
hard.
be consistent.
Being behind there
Yeah,
and having
and-
a good
and
Nothing
the
changes. You
consistency,
know
like,
what you're going to
that's-
get,
yeah.
and that's what you get every week.
you're gonna get what you can't steal on the guy. I mean, he's got to have one of the highest success rates of
He does.
throwing people out.
He does.
There
Right?
was.
If not the highest.
But they're also saying that a lot of the time people aren't stealing like they used to. But at the same time, when you're chopping people down left and right, they don't want to run on you. Unless you're a rookie from the trash throws who wants to actually badger and like mock Yachty, going, nah, you can't get me sleeping. I'm going to steal on you. And Yachty goes, go ahead, steal. And then he finally takes off and he catches him by a good mile and a half. You know, he was dead in the water. So Yachty is a Gold Glove, Platinum Glove, stellar catcher.
Yeah.
And, you know, he could be the spark that helps reunite this Cardinal team along with Arenado and Goldie, Paul Goldschmidt. So, Farmer, what do you think? Are you going to round out and make me the odd man out?
I'm gonna go Brewer, dude.
Oh, we're split now.
I'm a Brewer. I mean, your outfield makes your team, and if you have an outfield that can cover the ground behind your infield, you're all right.
That's your brother.
And they are not hurting in their outfield at all right now.
No,
they
got two of the best.
They have basically.
Well, they got Byron Buxton too from the Twins. He won a Gold Glove out there as well.
They're looking at guys in your outfield that are all stars. You have an all-star outfield.
You could literally have that whole outfield on the all-star
on one team.
Yeah.
So you get those guys, and if they can gel, in the batting order, and they can learn each other, and they can do that kind of thing, there you go.
The Cubs,
they can come behind and just say, see you later.
The Cubs can come in and cause a little ruckus, but I don't think that they're going to gel together. There seems to be some inner
There's
office
a lot of
turmoil.
going on in there.
There's
right
some
now.
people that want out even after finally breaking the drought that the Cubs had.
Mm-hmm.
But something went sour there, and I don't see them pulling away with it, but they could possibly be the thorn in people's side and possibly be the spoilers and knock somebody out of the playoffs.
There's that possibility.
You know, so don't be surprised if the Cubs can sneak in, maybe as a wild card, or even if they get hot at the right moment, they could take the division and surprise everybody.
Yeah, that's a possibility. it could be that. Everybody had a happy season last year, so.
Yeah,
it's going to be interesting to see.
They had a lot of recoup time. They had a lot of rebuilding time. They had a lot of restructure time. They had a lot of
training
physics on learning how to use your body and do all the right things.
How many videos have we seen of the off season that they had because it was so extensive? These people going and putting in work. So there's people people are saying Bellinger's swing, changed a little bit, but maybe he did it for the better. I mean, right? So
launch angle. He's working on the launch angle, trying to get more.
I mean, he's a lefty, man. He's already got the launch angle, which is being a lefty.
These days are working on launch angle. It's not even a small game anymore.
It's gonna be harder
in playing.
That long ball is gonna be a little harder with the dead ball, though.
It's true. And the breakout star of spring training so far that's not named Buddy Reed putting in Gold Glove caliber catches is actually Jock Peterson.
Yeah.
And he was let go basically by the Dodgers. They didn't even offer him a contract.
Big chip.
So big chip on the shoulder, and he's already putting together a really good spring. And if he can carry that into the actual season, man, watch out. He could be possibly a dark horse MVP candidate.
Yeah.
So we're going to get into our final brew, and it's going to be an award-winning beer. Plus, we're going to be talking about the National League East and our wild card selections coming up. We're going to go in and select our NL East selections. I'm going to start off, and I'm going to say that I got to go with the New York Mets. Now, I might have a soft spot for the Mets because a good friend of ours, Bruce Maxwell, is with them currently in spring training. I really hope that he breaks camp with them as their catcher because he did a lot of good things in Mexico, winning the championship with the Aceros de Monclova. So I believe that he has elements that he can add to that team. But you have Jacob deGrom, you have Thor, and you have Mr. Smile, Francisco Lindor coming over. So this could be the time for them to make the playoffs and take a really good stride getting back to the World Series for the first time since 2000 when they had to take on the Yankees. So, Chief, who do you think is going to take the NL East?
Even though you're Mets and Mike Piazza there, you just can't beat the rotation of Glavine, Smoltz, and Maddox
That's a hell
down
of a
there
big
in
three.
Atlanta. You know, but
Lights out. Okay.
Chipper Jones up and comer, you know. But all kidding aside, yeah, I gotta go with Atlanta. They're kind of a sleeper team. They're always in the running. Sometimes don't have enough. A lot of times to get what's needed to get done in the postseason. They're always there, but I'm gonna go with them.
They do have the reigning MVP for the National League in Freddie Freeman, so they could be poised to make a big run.
Absolutely.
Farmer, what do you think?
I'm gonna go Nationals
The Nationals,
out of nowhere.
out of nowhere. They
Why
did
not?
win the World Series recently.
Right.
And I personally don't think that they have a lot in their lineup. I mean, they still have Scherzer and they have Strasburg, but their lineup is not big ticket like some of the other teams in the National League.
You don't need
Yeah.
big ticket to be consistent.
That's true.
Okay.
Base hits win ball games.
You know what I mean? It could be long ball. It could be little ball. Let's bunt. Let's
Yeah.
move. Let's steal. Let's do that.
Base
Kind
to base.
Fundamentals.
Base to base.
They have that kind of game. So
Yeah.
I could see them pushing through. It's kind of like the early 2000s, late 90s Angels.
Okay.
Small ball, steal,
Yeah.
play the game. Let's do it this way.
Get somebody in scoring position, base hit, knocks them in.
Does that hurt you? Because, early 2000s, they beat the Giants.
They did.
There we
And the
go.
Giants were poised to win that World Series,
no, we
and
should.
they
Again.
gave it away.
One more thing that we like to give away. I feel like they needed it more.
Okay.
So it's all
all
good.
right.
That
And
works.
Brent, for you, who has the NL East locked down?
I have the Braves too. It just seems like it's one of those years that coming off of the short year and then I feel like they want it, right? Freddie Freeman definitely gonna want that to get up there. I mean, not that not every player wants it, but it's just I feel like he could actually lead the team into doing it. So
So he's a cap.
he could be the captain. Yeah, he's the captain.
Who was the captain for the Red Sox?
Win.
Anytime.
Win.
Anytime.
He was the catcher.
Veritek?
Veritek is the captain.
Okay.
All right.
And even though I would say that when he retired, Euclid took that over.
Yeah.
But Euclid was a great guy to watch the Red Sox with, and just his approach at the game and how he played and how he mentored people. Pedroia's in that same boat right now.
Mm-hmm.
For us,
So-
the A's had Captain Sal Bando, and that was during the 70s run when they won 3 in a row. Since then, there really hasn't been a captain person. It doesn't seem like they have that big voice that says, hey, we got to do something. I mean, technically, the last person that tried to do that was Josh Donaldson, and he got traded because he called out the front office saying, hey, give us everything possible to win. The Giants, I think the last big-time captain would be maybe Will Clark.
I'd have to say if it's not yet, but it's probably going to end up being Buster Posey. He seems like a guy who's probably going to try to stick with the Giants as much as he can.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think. I mean, you never really know because it's all about money for the most part.
This could be his curtain call year.
So it's one of those things, but I feel like he could be that guy who stays there and could end up being the captain, like a Yachty, something like that, who's going to run the team and be
So
that guy.
is Posey going to be like that, where you start and you stop in the same team?
I
Because
don't.
that's rare nowadays.
There's
It
not
is.
a lot of
It
career.
Yeah,
doesn't
that's
happen.
It is
Single
my
team.
hope that he is
Retired
one
as a
one
Giant.
franchise guy where he started with the Giants, stays with the Giants, and
Retire
that's
with
it.
the Giants,
retire.
be a Giant,
That he is
everything a Giant.
Giants
Okay.
have that forever Giant
Right.
tag that they put on everybody who either passes away or not very many people nowadays try to stick with the one team.
No,
They always chase
they
the
don't.
money.
Correct.
Posey, I can see being the guy, especially now because he got the injury when he got
His hip.
lit up at the at the plate, and so he's just got all that stuff working against him. It's where it seems like he'd be the guy that could take less money to stay on the team, lower the cap. So
Okay. So now with our selections locked in for the East Division champions, what are we thinking for our wild card teams. I personally think it's going to be the Padres, the Cardinals, and I am going in with the Braves. But does anybody have any sleeper picks in there, maybe? Chief, what do you think?
Well, I went with the Padres in the West. Los Angeles is going to give them a run for the money. Maybe I picked the wrong team. They're both right up in there.
Try to choose.
Definitely Los Angeles is going to have the wins. Get in wild card. I just don't see the Central being that strong, and there's always a lot of wins in the East. Go with the Mets and the Nationals.
Mets and the Nationals.
Yeah.
Wow. What are you guys doing with the Nationals? Just because they won a World Series
Hey.
recently?
You never know what
Yeah.
could happen.
Never know.
Okay, Farmer, what do you think?
Brewers.
Okay.
Let's bring out the Brewers. You know, outfield
Yeah, they're
gonna
outfield.
get you done. Your outfield is gonna get you done.
Okay.
All right.
You without an outfield, you don't get extra bases. Without your outfield, you don't have a 1, 2, 5, or 7 spot in your batting order.
Yeah.
Those are your fast guys.
Okay.
Those are your steal guys. Those are your guys that help create the momentum for the game.
All right.
So if they can keep that and keep their squad and get the other guys to build around them, I think that team going together could be great.
Okay.
It's especially if they keep Ron. I don't know what he's got going on.
Yeah.
But you know,
I think he's still a free agent.
He's debating.
Yeah.
There's a big debate there. He's not off the team, but he's not on it either.
Right. He might opt
So,
out just like Posey did last year for the Giants.
But if that happens, that's going to create more
Opportunities
room
for
them
the young
to find,
cats?
Yeah.
find another team
Okay.
or find another player from another team that they can afford. So
Okay.
I see that as being something that might happen.
Okay. Anybody else that you got in there sneaking in?
No, not really.
The other wild card
I'm-
spots probably for you, but not
Just
really.
looking. I mean,
Just like the Brewers are going to take the wild card
the Brewers should take the wild card,
and end up getting.
and I see the Nationals taking that whole thing on that side.
Okay.
I see that happen.
Brent, what about
Alright.
you? What do you think for your wild card teams?
So, the Mets, obviously. I mean, doing all the talking about it's just they're there. The Padres, I mean, again, it's a kind of a coin flip. The Padres could be fantastic, and the Dodgers could be fantastic. So it's like you got the coin flip there about which
Okay.
one's gonna go in, and then me just my home, my love. I gotta put the Giants in. I gotta give them a chance for something. It could have a season.
It's like an abusive
know.
relationship. I mean, I could say the same thing for the A's.
Yeah.
I love them so much, but they hurt me in many, many years.
But I mean, they came so close last year. They came down to that fucking last game, last pitch. So it's just it's one of those things that I feel like kind of everybody has a chip on the shoulder. Buster Posey's back, and he is a leader of the team.
Okay.
So
He's the captain on that team.
I mean,
he's the quarterback.
he's one of the guys who's gonna be pushing people. So I mean,
Okay.
we got Joey Bart, our number one draft pick. So,
Helio Ramos.
so I mean, we got
Longoria's still there. He could do
Longoria's still there,
something.
and he's been smashing like he has in preseason. So let's just hope it.
Yeah, we watched
extend-
a couple nights ago.
Let's hope it
Two bombs.
let's hope it extends to
Let's go.
keep going. In the regular season.
Okay.
So I
Who
gotta give
rounds
him a little
out
bit
your
of love.
group?
What's it? It was Mets, Padres, and Giants.
Mets, Padres, and Giants. Okay, I missed one.
Yeah.
That's an interesting
Love
pick.
Padres.
Yeah.
Padres and
That's like
Dodgers.
to give me.
Yeah, the Giants obviously have a huge uphill battle. So
So let's go into our final beer, and it's going to be an award-winning one. The final beer on our tour of Strike Brewing Company is their award-winning beer, the Big Wall Imperial Stout. Now, this one has been sitting out a little bit longer because, just like we've been told recently, you want the stouts, you want the IPAs to come up in temperature so you can fully get the whole avenue of what the beers bring to you. It comes in at 9% alcohol by volume, and it features tobacco notes, coffee, chocolate. So this is a beer that's going to be well outside of my comfort zone. It sort of does look like the Briar.
Yeah, a little bit.
Has that same deep color. The head's a little bit more. I could have messed up the pour on it.
A little frothy.
It says that you're going to get a complex roasted grain character that elevates the alcohol by volume, but it has a chewy body and it's balanced. They won the gold medal for the U.S. World Beer Cup. So, I don't know about you guys.
It's like a
It smells good. Definitely the smell. You definitely get the chocolate and the coffee. You know.
The smell itself is more malt, like roasted malt.
I don't like it.
I get a breadiness to it.
It's almost like
I don't like it.
dark chocolate taste.
Yeah.
Like, pretty much dark chocolate.
To me, it's not a beer.
You get that chewy. Like it definitely got a good mouthfeel to it.
Wow.
You know. Coating it. Well done.
It's got taste.
It's
But to me,
a
it's not my
surprising
thing.
one for me. It sort of reminds me of the old Kaz oatmeal stout that we had from
Yeah.
out in Roanoke Park. It's not super blow you away with the deep flavor that you would think. It's well rounded for sure.
And at 9%, you don't get that alcohol bite either.
Right.
You know, like it's one of those higher, ABV. So it's like,
I don't have to chew this, so that's a plus.
yeah, like you don't. It's not overwhelming. You do get the roasted grain in there. You definitely get like the chocolate and the espresso type stuff.
I was
I
gonna
don't.
say, does it like espresso?
I don't.
Yeah.
I don't
An
taste.
espresso coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah, caramel too.
Okay.
Yeah, there is a subtle. There actually is a subtle caramel finish to it. It
Yeah.
reminds me of a brown ale. It really does.
Yeah.
A little bit deeper in flavor, not too overpowering, and that's what I was worried about. I thought my palate was going to be blown out.
Yeah, and it's surprisingly, it says you get the tobacco in there, but I
don't taste
I don't
any
taste the
tobacco.
tobacco.
For me, not knowing what tobacco tastes like, I can see it, but just like all the other cans that we've encountered, that sometimes it's going to tell you, hey, it has this, a copious amount of hops. It sort of draws you in and then
Expecting
allows
one thing.
the beer to do the talking for it. And
It's kind of nice. So you make the can description and stuff. You go in thinking one thing, and then it's honestly completely different than what you'd expect.
And we had to bust this one out because in a lineup, you cannot feature the award-winning one.
Yeah.
And for me, I can sort of see why it won an award.
Mm-hmm.
It's flavorful, it's not overbearing, not
Yeah.
overpowerful, and it's well-rounded. And sometimes that checks off all the boxes that will give you the awards.
Yep.
And speaking of awards, we've predicted division winners, wild card winners, NL and American League champions. So the final thing we have to do is who's gonna win the World Series for 2021. Farmer, let's start with you.
Padres.
Ooh,
Without
Okay.
hesitation,
without hesitation.
the Padres.
Padres. With all my other stuff, it's just the team that all around and what they're going to do and the talent they have and the depth that they have and the longevity that they have and the age of the group of the kids that are on that team,
Yeah.
they can make it. So as long as they can stay strong and stay healthy,
They're gonna be fun to watch.
I don't see that anybody athletically or the way they bring themselves about to the game, I don't see anybody beating them.
Okay. Chief, what do you think?
All right.
Who's going to be the World Series champion?
I'm going to go with the Braves. Braves over the Twins. Rematch of the 1991 World Series. But
Okay.
it's going to be flipped this time. Braves are going to take it.
Braves are going to take it.
Wow.
There was a bobblehead that was put together with the iconic play with Ron Gant and Kent Herbeck. that is missing from my collection, and I really want to do it because there was a controversial play where Herbeck pushed Ron Gant off of the base, and they called him out, and that was the momentum changer that actually led to the Twins, winning that World Series. So that's going to be interesting if that does happen. Now, Brent, what do you think?
Yeah, it's a hard toss up for me. It's like I said, it's like flipping a coin between the Dodgers and the Padres on which one's gonna kill it this year.
They're both an all-star team.
They're both all-star teams. I honestly think I don't think there's anything in the American League that really comes up against those two, like that I could say would beat them. So it's got to be one of those two teams.
In a 7-game series.
Yeah, in a 7-game series.
In a 7-game
series.
Those two teams are going to dominate you.
It's
no matter what.
So honestly, between those two, right now, I just think with momentum in their favor, I got to go with the Dodgers.
Okay.
Even though, again, fucking hate them.
Yeah,
So-
it's tough for you to say that. You're
But
choking
the
on
Padres
words.
have a chip on their shoulder, and they're going to
That's
come
true.
back, and they're going to be
So it's such a difficult toss-up between those two.
It's gonna be fun.
So,
Well,
Fun.
it sort of looks like everything is going towards the National League because my selection, it's going to be White Sox
Oh.
versus.
All right.
No.
I called that.
White Sox
I called it.
versus Mets.
Called it.
okay.
And I think that the Mets will win.
Oh.
For the first time since 1986, 35-year drought will be over because of Francisco Lindor. I think
Okay.
he brings so much to the table that's going to be the thing that gets great pitching over the hump. Thor and DeGrom,
He's on what team?
he's
on
with the Mets.
He's on the Mets.
They traded him in.
They still have Cespedes too, right?
I'm not sure if Cespedes is playing
or
this
is he
year.
done?
No, so he's still a part of the franchise, but I don't think he's going to play because he opted out last year
He's getting hosed.
right before the season started. But with Lindor bringing new elements and that swag,
And that's his ethnical background.
yeah.
They're both the same. So
Yeah.
maybe.
So I honestly
Cespedes,
think
that'd be nice.
that the Mets will go out there and finally seal up the deal and
All right.
win the whole damn thing.
All right.
So it seems like
National
this
League.
is a National League bound year. I mean, last
true.
year the Dodgers won it. The year before that, the Nationals won it.
Yep.
So it seems like 3 in a row because I
Yeah.
have to give it to one of these National League teams.
Yeah.
And since it's my show, I'm going to say it's going to be the Mets. That's going to be...
It's going to be the A's.
I can't do that. I mean, I wish I could say,
yeah.
no matter what, that the A's are going to win the World Series.
We're
But
not gonna kill it.
there's
Heck,
so
long
much
shot.
heartbreak that I've seen.
Real long shot.
They could long shot wild card and be out of fucking nowhere and just come
Oh
out and take
yeah.
it.
I mean,
And like I said, I'll pop the champagne and I will celebrate like crazy. But
Anything
right
can
now,
happen.
I
It's-
got to go with the Mets.
the best part about the wild card not being just one game anymore. So
Right, and that's one thing that helped us go on last year, and we pushed the White Sox to the limits, and we knocked them out. But then we went up against the Astros, so there's a lot of room to still grow. If they get to the ALCS, I'll be great and really happy. If they win the World Series, I'll be happy. But it's tough for me not to say that the Mets have the advantage over the whole entire league.
Okay.
We're going to link you up with Strike Brewing Company out of San Jose, California for all these wonderful baseball-themed brews. They have a good amount of representation in beer styles, so we'll let you decide which one you want in your fridge. We're also going to link you up with MLB.com with their choices on what's going to be happening on this upcoming season. I want to thank everybody for joining us. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. And we'll see you next time on Baseball, Bobbleheads, and Brews.